We're hearing reports a lot of the riots have been coordinated on social media, and to look at this aspect, I'm joined by Tom Tudhope. He's the Director of Social Media at risk management company SR7. Is this a social networking crime spree in London?
Oh, to an extent it is, but I think in reality, riots, uprisings have been going on for centuries and hundreds of years. So the social media component of this only has the effect of accelerating violence. These riots weren't caused by social media. This isn't a social media riot. But the role that social media is playing is connecting people far more quickly or instantaneously than has previously happened, and really accelerated the violence in many parts of London.
It's really allowed it to spread far quicker and to, in effect, outrun the authorities. They can't keep up.
That's right, but it happens far quicker, but it'll probably end far quicker as well. And what we're seeing in London is very similar to what we saw in Egypt and what we saw in Vancouver. The people who are rioting have the ability to connect with each other far more quickly than the police do, and identify where the riots are occurring, where the police are, and then coordinate their movements as a result of that. And this is occurring on things like Twitter, on Facebook, and most prominently on the BlackBerry Messenger service.
Now, just because messages are being exchanged and are spreading far and wide, there's a difference between that and people actually choosing to participate, so it's hard to gauge the correlation there.
Yeah, that's right. Just because you're a watching participant doesn't mean you're involved, and that's the effect of social media. People can watch without participating. But I think in the wash-up of what will happen in this result is that what you do on the internet leaves an indelible mark. It cannot be removed. And those people who are participating in the riots will have some photo, some sort of identity of them participating on a social network. It might be Facebook, it might be Twitter, it might be a BBM message that has gone into the public sphere. So I think the net result will be it'll be far easier for police to identify who is involved purely because of what they've done on social media.
Because as I understand it, even those private messaging networks, little networks that are set up, police can access them if they think there's been some sort of criminal behaviour.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the Scotland Yard have already made an approach to BlackBerry, and have already made an approach to a lot of the providers to gain access to these networks and see what sort of information is being transcribed. Now, whether that is some sort of breach of privacy, I'm not sure. But I would imagine in the wash-up what they'll find out is they'll find out what's being exchanged and who is actually being involved. So, we've heard a lot of reports today that BlackBerry messengers are untraceable. Now, if that is the case, I'm sure many writers will be happy, but I don't think it will be.
In Britain, some politicians, media commentators, certainly even some members of the police force are still suggesting that social media is fueling this violence beyond what would have normally have happened. They still think that it has that ability to ignite it beyond what people initially might think.
Yeah, I think it does, and I think they're right. It does fuel the violence, and it has the ability to connect people who might not have previously been connected. If one of your friends posts a photo in a riot, or one of your friends on Twitter says, "Oh, I'm this place, I'm looting here," whatever the message is, it has that ability to connect people in a small geographic area, and also obviously as far and wide as international audience. But I think with the police, their role on social media also has an effect. If you're not in the game, you can't control the game. And if the police had a more active presence on social media, maybe them themselves would have been able to quell some of this fueling of the violence.
Sending messages out, stay home, don't go out.
That's exactly right. Safety and public awareness messages. There's a real void of that sort of messaging going on in the public sphere. It's not just in London. It's police services all around the world who are struggling to grasp, how can I effectively use social media to communicate a public good?
But how effective can that sort of messaging be from the authorities? I mean, are people who see what's happening around them, the riots, the violence, and if they get a message from their local police station saying stay home, are they really going to heed it?
Absolutely. Look what happened in Queensland with the floods. The message that was put out by the police there was well heeded by the community. Now, if the same circumstance happened in London, maybe there would be less violence. Maybe businesses could prepare themselves a little bit better. Maybe those businesses who are in affected areas could have some sort of risk mitigation plan in place because of an active social media presence that was communicated by government officials and the police. But you cannot leave this space to be dominated by one organisation or one select sphere of interest, which has happened in this circumstance with riders. A
lot of lessons probably for the police service out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. For here as well, I think.
Right. Tom Tudhope, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.